KFNX.org.
And the boys like to shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss the one that body, rock your favorite bones. Me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll brought to you by Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to Shake, Rattle, and Troll. I hope there's not a weed eater in your day today because they had NASCAR last night.
And your point is?
And you missed it. Joey Logano is doing the deed with the 22 Pennzoil car.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he aced him last night. Good job. So anyway, JK's in the house with me, and I know you've been up to no good, and you have a little bit of an expose today.
Well, I don't know if it's an expose. For those who aren't aware.
You're going to be hearing it live right here.
Oh, yeah. I call it the SSS. Sandy's Silly Survey.
All right, we're going to get into that. Troy Giamacro's back with us today. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Are you trying to avoid the weed eater today?
I'm going to avoid the weed eater today.
And I want to introduce our special guest, racing legend, Billy Schumann. I am honored to have you here, Mr. Schumann.
Well,
welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
Now, these guys are probably going to be wondering how we're going to tie sprint car racing in with fishing, but we're going to do that.
We can get into that. There's a lot in common. So
yeah, boy. Yeah.
We can get there.
Yeah, push on the gas, turn left. Yeah, just like
you do that in your boat all the time.
Yeah, it's not about the fishing. It's about passing all the other guys.
Well, it's the bass boats. You want to make them go faster, don't you? I mean, it's.
We're there.
Yeah.
We're looking at some of the stuff. I'll pick on Jimmy Dwight. Jimmy Dwight went from a one of 6 center console Beesmeyers that were built back in the day, early 60s. Jimmy's got a 150. I think it's a Johnson on it. It doesn't matter. It's a old 150 carbureted blender of some sort. He sold that boat. Never been in a bass boat behind the wheel. He bought a Bullet with a 250 Mercury on it. Now, that's a 90-mile-an-hour bass boat stock off the trailer before you start messing with it.
Yeah.
The first time I went fishing with Jimmy, I told him that week we had an event up at Lake Havasu. I said, you make sure you take that thing up to Swirl Lake and get your 5 or 8 hours of break in and learn how to drive this thing. Learn how to drive it. You're going to have to drive through some issues.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't pay too much more attention to it. We showed up at Havasu, launched the boat in the water. I said, how much braking time do you have? He goes, I didn't get to go. We took off out of Windsor Beach, and by the time we made the point, I was yelling at Jimmy, trim it up, push on the gas, let's go, 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 go. We had a 33-mile run. Jimmy wouldn't trim it up, and nor would he push on the gas. So I told him, I said, look, you need to pull this thing over. Why? What's the matter? Something wrong? I go, yeah, I want to tie my Boer markies onto my rod, so when you flip this thing, I can come back and find my fishing rod. God dang. He finally got the hang of it about 6 months later, but that truly was the longest, scariest ride of my life.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah, he had
90 mile an hour, you got to go through 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, he had it up, he was trying to trim it up, and just about the time it was going to waddle a little bit and set down on pad and suck down and start performing, he'd back out of it.
Yep.
No, don't lift, push.
Can't do that.
No, he was scooping water both sides. Chine walking's one term. What this boat was doing is, I don't have a term for it other than scaring the crap out of me. So you got a lot to learn, JK, about bass boats.
I just prefer to ride with you. I'll let you do all the driving. It
yeah,
works every time.
Try not to scare my guys. So, Billy, you're going to tell us about, I want to talk about your career. Somebody I've always looked up to, and every guy, at a certain age, you look up at, a racing legend or baseball, football, whatever it is, might happen to be circle track racing, and you were down there. When did you start your roundy round episode?
Middle 60s I started I started motorcycles and then worked up to race cars. And
I started motorcycles as well. Did that for 2 weeks. Went to the doctor for 4 weeks and bought something with fenders on it with 4 wheels.
Yeah, it was something I never really got hurt on a motorcycle. Never did. So, but I didn't ride them that long either. I didn't race them that long. So, I got right into cars and then that was kind of cool. You couldn't fall off a car, so.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. Those fences and guardrails around the turn four pretty hard.
Yep. Yeah, they get that way.
That's good stuff. What have you been up to today, Mr. Troy?
Sunday morning comes early.
It does.
Very
Indeed.
early.
I understand you've had some offshore adventures in Alabama, Georgia.
Oh, God.
Somewhere back in the South.
That was a scary story. I had to ask permission to make sure I wasn't going to lose my man card. I did was doing some real estate with a friend down in Georgia, and he kept making fun of me because I moved from New York to Florida, and I said, hey, I'm a Southerner now. And he said, boy, you're not a Southerner.
You're not.
Never happened. Nope.
You're not a man in the South till your daddy tells you so, or a Southerner does.
True story.
That's accurate.
We closed the deal, and he said, you got to come fishing with me and my buddies. I said, fishing? He goes, sure. He goes, just meet me at my house at 4 a.m. I showed up with my khakis and my polo shirt. He opened up the garage. He said, damn, boy, what are you doing?
This is like
he goes,
a preppy outfit.
Someone's going to turn you into a girlfriend. Get in here. Got me all camoed out. We get in his truck, big on a lift kit, F-150, F-250, I think. I think he had a dually diesel even. It was huge. Anyway, we drive for like half an hour. We show up. I don't see any fishing rods. I go, where are the fishing rods? He goes, don't worry about it. He goes, we're going to teach you how to fish in the South. And we pull up somewhere near the Okefenokes and get to camp, and there's guys got smokers going and all these guys in camo, and there's shotguns everywhere. We get in the boat, and I'm like, where's the fishing rods? Pull out in the middle of this little area of the lake. He says, you ready, boy? And I said, what am I supposed to do? He goes, see that big net over there? And I go, uh-huh. He goes, don't stand around like a mamby-pamby. Grab that net. One guy dropped the muzzle of his shotgun in the water and just pulled it, and all the fish just started floating to the top.
No way.
And I said, are you kidding? I thought you needed it. He goes, this is how we fish here in the South, boy. He goes, start scooping them before they go bad.
The things you learn in the South are just absolutely frightening.
I didn't complain the rest of that morning. I did whatever they told me to do.
Well, I mean, the obvious thing, was there any moonshine involved?
There were some mason jars.
Mason
Found
jars.
out later I thought that was for pickling the fish, but it wasn't for that.
Something got pickled, and it wasn't the fish.
It wasn't the
That'll
fish.
bring you to a whole new level. Ow, my head!
My dad used to fish like that when he was in World War II. They used to take hand grenades.
Yeah.
They will plop them up if they wanted fresh fish. That's what they did.
Yeah, man. Billy, you had some time at Tempe Marine. Tell us about that.
The what now?
Tempe Marine.
Tempe Marine was that was good. Gary Williams and put that deal together, and it was good for a long time. I think bass fishing and the bass boat thing was just coming around.
Yeah.
And the real major stuff anyway. And he did a good job. He had some good people working.
You were down there with Gary Williams?
Gary Williams and Steve Penfield and Danny Westfall and Greg Hines.
Wow.
And
well, that is back in the day.
Oh man, you just learned.
What's happened to Greg Hines? He's kind of
Greg Hines
vanished.
Well, Greg Hines got in with Skip Randall from Mesa, and they did a big marina and everything down at Rocky Point. And Skip was going to do condos, and I mean he had the deal all lined out. And
last time I talked to Greg, he was, I think he was guiding butchering meat up in Payson, Sholo, Heber, or somewhere up there.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him for a while. So.
Well, anyway, hey, we're going to stand down and thank some of our sponsors. I do want to tell you, you see a lot of commercials about Truck of the Year. It's the Ram, the 1500 Ram, back-to-back champions, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, available at I-17 in West Camelback since 1927. All righty, we're back. Billy, when you were down at Tempe Marine back in the 60s, what boats were they pushing?
We mainly was pushing the Champion.
Okay.
Champion bass boat.
Yeah, they had those for a long while till.
Yeah, Gary brought those from. He was the first one this side of the Mississippi actually to have them. So
yeah,
and they were good boats, So.
Yeah, we had a contract with Tempe Marine after Gary sold it, driving skeeters.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple of different skeeters. The I-21, the I-class boat with a great big HPDI Yamaha motor on it. I'm not real fond of Yamahas necessarily. They're great motors. The difference between them and the Mercury is the Mercury's has got a very aggressive torque and horsepower curve. So.
Yeah, the Yamaha was basically that was copied after the OMC, and they were a little calmer,
Sure.
A little calmer motors.
Tell us about your racing museum. You were kind enough to bring some vintage race cars out to the Bill Luke Bass Days event, and I was pretty surprised to learn we had a open wheel race car museum.
Yeah, it's not quite. We hadn't been open quite 2 years, and the owner doesn't do a lot of. Excuse me, he doesn't do a lot of advertising, but it's open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Now, where is it?
It's at 3524 East Broadway in Phoenix. 36th Street and Broadway, basically, is where it's at. So, and
yeah, that's pretty close to the old Manzanita.
well, that's 36th Street and Manzanita's 35th Avenue.
Yeah,
so.
close.
But it's really a good deal. A lot of history there. There's a lot of. It takes quite a while to go through it. It's 14,000 square feet.
Wow.
And he's just done a great job.
How many race mobiles?
I was in there last week. It was right at 30, I think. So.
Wow.
And the cars are the small part because the pictures and the history. There's just so much there. It's unbelievable. You can go through it and walk outside and walk back through and see completely different things.
Absolutely.
It's like I say, a lot of history from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and clear till today. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great deal.
What all types of race cars have they archived?
Mostly open wheel stuff, midgets, and there's a lot of midget sprint cars, champ cars. There's a lot of stuff on Bobby Ball and Jimmy Bryan and
sure.
Clint Bronner, some of the big names from the valley, and then on up through today. There's some newer cars too. So
you got the old super modifieds with the wings.
We got one of Donnie Schott's wing sprint cars down there. So and that was amazing when we were at Lake Pleasant. That the older cars, some of the older people recognized them and they could relate to those. But
our general manager Kim Carter was going round and round down there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely had I don't remember what number his race car was, but he had one with a wing. Johnny Turner that had the 5 and the 6 car for years.
That was amazing.
Back in the old Gene Brown days.
Yeah, that was amazing. They that was really the first technology that came along with wings. He did a lot of he went out to Deer Valley Airport and did a lot of studying on wings, and then they put it on, and they won a lot of races. I mean, they really did their homework.
I think that wing's still up in the rafters in the garage.
Kevin tells me that there's all kinds of stuff up there, but I'd like to go over and see it.
Oh, absolutely.
Kevin has donated quite a bit of stuff to the museum, and
Great.
yeah, and it's like quite a few of us have done that because it's someplace other people can enjoy it instead of having it in your house or in your shop or whatever, And
Eventually headed for the scrapyard.
well, not so much that, but like when something happens to me, nobody's going to know anything about the stuff I have. If it's in a museum, people can see it. You can donate it to the museum or whatever, and it's there for everybody to enjoy. It's a cool deal.
Outstanding. Is there a price to get in?
No. There's donation only right now. There's a membership you can join, and there's going to be special events for members only, and the guy's really done a good job.
Well, we're looking, Bass Day's coming up again, March 13th, 14th, 15th, 2015. We're looking forward to having you back and perhaps eking out a little bit of a place so you can fire the cars and run them a little bit.
Cool. We could do that.
Yeah, the landlords, we've asked for permission to land airplanes.
That ain't happening.
I believe we're going to make it happen.
Not airplanes.
Airplanes. I've had what you don't know is I've had a lengthy discussion with the Seaplane Association.
Okay, there we go. That I can buy.
We've got a big landing strip
yes,
out
you
there.
do.
Now, the only problem is my good friend that's never called me back, that is the Maricopa County Parks Director,
Good friend.
said no.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do that. We're going, yeah, we are. So, who do we need to go talk to?
The question is, why would they say no to landing a seaplane on such a big body of water?
About the same reason why they're saying no to lifting the Eagle closure.
Because they want to.
Yeah, because they can, and they've got their heads stuffed so far up their pipes they can't see daylight. So
Interesting analogy. Thank you.
Yeah,
good visual.
Perfect. So yeah, we're going to try to make some stuff happen. The theme that we're playing on for Bass Days next year is wheels and wings. Or in your case, wheels with wings.
Yeah.
So the Pleasant Valley Airport does a backcountry fly-in. They've agreed to do it the same week as Bass Days. And from what I understand, there's a bunch of old vintage aircraft coming in. We're hoping to see maybe a beaver or an otter come in that's used heavily up in the northern
tiers.
Up north for flying hunters in and out. Very, very dependable aircraft, and some of the other stuff. I think it's going to be a good show.
That'll be cool. They kind of blend together,
Yeah, I think so. People, that I pass in my daily life. You start looking at the marketing, bass fishing, NASCAR. All the racing sports, 76% of the spectators in NASCAR have fishing licenses and drink Budweiser. I'll may as well throw that out there. So.
Your point?
Yeah, my point, yeah. Hey.
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, red, white, and blue, absolutely. And what's your beer choice, by the way?
Mine?
Yeah.
Right now, probably Miller. Was Bud for a long time. It just depends.
Okay.
Either Bud or Miller.
Look,
Bud Light.
All the guys sitting in here are a little bit too old. Don't use that word. Depends. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's all good. Whatever happened to Dennis Woods?
Dennis Woods just passed away here not too long ago.
I had heard that.
And
I didn't know whether it was unfounded rumor or not, but is it? Yeah,
he had a bout with cancer, and
wow.
he was doing dialysis, I think 3 or 4 times a week, and it was a pretty heavy deal.
A tough way to go out. What about Keith Hall?
Keith Hall's still around, and I haven't talked to him for a while, but he was still in Texas doing his horses last I heard.
Really?
So,
Did you ever have to fight your way out of Mr. Lucky's?
No.
Not really.
I get it.
Out of Manzanita once or twice, but
man, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Steve Peters, my old racing partner, was out there. We got to talk about the Boat Right boys, and
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing. If you're not involved in bass fishing, you have no idea what happens. And it's the same thing with dirt track racing, period.
Yeah,
You have no idea what happens when you go to a break. Wow.
It's the same but different.
Yeah.
I mean, because I did a lot of tournaments and stuff, years ago, and it's the same thing there.
Hey, trust me. There's been a couple bass tournaments. I've had the ball peen hammer out going, come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk?
I mean,
Steve Chernitzky cut me off. We're both running 70, 75 miles an hour, and he cut me off that damn purple Skeeter, and his life flashed before my eyes. It was a deal, trust me. If there would have been pits, I'd have got him.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to stand down and clean it up, and we'll be back. All right, we're back, rubbing and racing, and just carrying on. John, you've been doing some investigating on polling.
I have.
And, rumor has it that 70% of the people in Arizona, let's just say, is what's been put out there, want wolves. Bad wolves. What have you found out?
That the survey was done last year in August, and the survey organization is a group called the Tulchin Company. Tulchin Company is based out of San Francisco. It's a Democratic-based company. They do polling, surveys, preparation analysis, as well as campaigns for Democratic candidates. And they were hired by the Defenders of Wildlife.
What's wrong with that picture?
Oh, nothing. I mean, as long as you agree that it's a stilted survey, you're fine. What they did was they hired the Defenders of Wildlife contracted with the Tulchin Company to do the survey. And they did the survey. I found some of the questions to be absolutely misleading, but be that as it may, they took their survey and they found that 70% of Arizonans want to have wolves in Arizona. Now, that's a statement that's blanket, and that's what they come out with. In every meeting that I go to where Sandy Barr and the Sierra Club is present, she pumps up this 70% of Arizonans want to have more wolves.
I think it's time to put a lid on that particular person.
Here's the situation, though. I took a look at the raw numbers. I went in and I did some finding and fact-finding. The determination that 70% of Arizonans want to have more wolves is based on a total of 300 people. That was their survey base. And they did it out of registered voters, split Democratic and Republican, and independents. The problem with it is number one, how you phrase the question, and number two, 300, it's not stating whether it's urban, whether it's rural, not stating anything else other than whether they're hunting or non-hunting. This is just 300 random people. Out of over 6 million people in the state, I don't think that's an accurate reflection. But that's what they keep pumping at the commission every time they go to a meeting.
Was there any information where the polling took place?
No, that was all phone surveys.
Oh, perfect.
Phone surveys, and I'll read you just one of the questions that they had. It said, scientists say there are too few wolves in Arizona and New Mexico. They remain at risk of extinction, and there needs to be 2 new populations of wolves in different suitable regions to ensure recovery. Please tell me which one of the following statements is closer to your own view. I mean, when you broach it that way, scientists say so, it must be true. That's like saying, do you like pizza? Of course you like pizza. Do you like pizza every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Well, no, I don't want pizza every day for breakfast, lunch, and well, but they don't go that far. They don't point out the problems that we have with wolves. They don't point out the problem that we have decreasing populations of animals. There is a number of things that they're doing that are inaccurate. And then here it said, wolves play an important part in maintaining healthy deer and elk populations. Restoring wolves to forests and wilderness in northern Arizona and New Mexico will bring a healthier balance to our ecosystem. The only problem with that is mule deer herds have plummeted in the last 25 years ever since we stopped trapping on public lands.
Exactly.
We don't have a mule deer problem. The problem we have is they're darn near extinct. You don't find them in the desert anywhere because the coyotes are eating their fawns before they're 6 months old. That's the issue. Between drought and predation, we don't have 1/2 of the mule deer herd that we had in 1992. So there's not a problem with maintaining them. In terms of elk, it's the same scenario. Back in 1998, we put out an excess number of tags, and ever since then we've been around the 25,000 mark. Approaching up to 35,000, but it's maintained an integrity level based on the hunt demands. Now, you put in another 1,000 top-line apex predators, what are you going to have?
Well, I think you can go down the path of their Yellowstone model.
Well, Yellowstone model was a joke. We all know that. They weren't supposed to take no more than 5, but no less than 5%, nor more than 30% of the Yellowstone herd was going to be quote-unquote food for the wolves. Well, 80% of that herd is now gone.
And they're starting on the bison.
Of course they are.
Tatanka.
Yeah, Tatanka's going away. It'll happen. Now, the other thing, the other big lie that they're fond of telling us is that the Mexican gray wolves will kill off the coyotes, and that because they have a symbiotic relationship with the antelope. That's a direct quote from Kim Crumbo out of the Grand Canyon area, and that's a lie. What they're doing is they're crossbreeding, creating a hybrid. And, the department knows that they're not killing coyotes. Wolves are not killing coyotes here. Up north, those big boys.
The gray's another problem, a whole other animal.
Yeah,
These
totally.
Mexicans, they're so closely related to the domestic dog.
Yeah, and size-wise, you get a coyote female in heat, anything comes running is going to try and nail her. And that's what you're going to have. You're going to wind up with hybrids. They know that already. It's a fact. They've put down some females that have had hybrid pups. That came from some of the people within the wolf population here. They know they're having a huge problem in the East Coast with the red wolf.
Oh, man.
They are getting all kinds of things. What are you going to end up shooting? If it's a 50-50, does it qualify as a wolf or does it qualify as a coyote?
No, 50-50? No, it's Puerto Rican.
It's called coyote.
Sorry.
So, at any rate, the survey that Sandy took, the survey that Sandy represents at every single commission meeting, anytime wolf is brought up in a public meeting, is an absolute joke. 300 people is less than 1/1000th of a percent of the population.
Are your intentions to bring this to the department's attention or blue slip it?
It's going to be blue slipped.
Yeah.
I want to follow Sandy in any public meeting. I really do. I'm going to let her talk, and then I'm going to be right behind her.
I wish we'd have had this at the last commission meeting. She was rather irritated at the whole department and borderline emotional.
Well, Sandy's always that way. You know that.
Yeah.
But she gets paid well to do that. She's a paid director for the Grand Canyon chapter for the Sierra Club. And the Sierra Club doesn't want people on the land any more than the Defenders of Wildlife do or anything else.
What do you think their stance is going to be on scoping the bison in the Grand Canyon National Park?
Well, they're going to want to maintain that they don't want hunting, period, in the Grand Canyon National Park. They don't believe it's right. They don't think anybody should do that. The problem is you got 400 buffalo where there's only food for 100. They have to whack 300.
So they going back to Commissioner Davis, they want us to pick up and move a family of 4 and hope the rest follow?
Yeah, that'll work. Why don't we set up 6,000 hunters and have them as drum beaters, push them north out of the Grand Canyon Park? That's the same kind of philosophy. It's stupid.
Yeah.
You know it. I know it. It's not going to happen. So, anyway, the surveys that... Oh, by the way, they did a survey for the West Coast. And the West Coast survey, they said... People in California, Washington, and Oregon definitely want to have wolves up in their country. And I looked at the numbers there. California, 500 residents is what they survey. Well, California, 500 liberals. You think you could find 500 liberals in California? Maybe. 300 in Oregon and 300 in Washington. That's a tri-state level determination that they have. It's based on 1,100 people of how many millions of people. And it doesn't give any of the demographics as to whether they're rural or urban. Well, you take urban voting rolls, and you ask people who know nothing about it and say, do you like pizza? Oh, yeah, sure. I love pizza. Pizza's good. Do you like pizza every day if it's going to make you 100 pounds overweight? Well, no, wait a minute. But they don't go that step further to say, what are the potential problems for having wolves? Are you willing to have wolves if you're willing to see 50% less animals out there? Are you willing to have it if you're going to have to watch your pets because Fido is going to become Fudo? And those are the issues that they're not addressing. So anyway, that's the basis of this quote-unquote survey. the Tulchin Company, and the Democratic Party, all tied in nicely with one little bow.
And you're going to be up the next commission meeting with this information?
Absolutely, except it's in Prescott. So I'm going to try and blue slip it out of here if they...
I'll drive you to Prescott if that's what it takes.
I'll let you ride the Prius.
I did that once, actually. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. We hugged the road well.
You ever ridden in a Prius?
No.
Really a responsive. Just forget what it is. It's low slung. Yeah, it got some horsepower. It's got some really unique handling characteristics.
Well, it should with the batteries in the bottom and the low
Oh,
gravity.
yeah.
There's no batteries in mine.
It's like riding a go-kart with a lid.
I asked him if he has.
All right, we're
the
going to
hamsters
stand
need
down
to
and
be
take a
fed.
break. I am Don McDowell, and you are?
Special K.
And?
Troy.
And?
Billy Schumann.
There you go. We'll be right back. All righty, we're back. Fortunately, this week, we're not going to have any roll call to speak of. DOD is pretty tight-lipped on what they're putting out there as far as killing action, and there's been an awful lot of controversy this past week on veteran suicide. One report I heard said the 2013 number is down based upon 2012. However, the Special Forces suicide is way up. And there wasn't any figures on what exactly way up meant. But the big story this week, and we've been talking about this for quite some time, Arizona congressional candidates are urging investigations and congressional hearings, which is kind of scary in its own self, on 40 deaths here at VA, our own veterans hospital here up on Indian School. And it's puzzling to me. They have 81,000 patients that go there. They've got a total budget of somewhere that exceeds $438 million. And they can't fire the vans up. There's 6 vans sitting in the back. Between Vern Bagley and myself at Project We Remember, who pays for a lot of things for veterans trying to get to their appointed physician treatment. We've got an 87-year-old veteran. VA can't treat him for some reason because of the waiting list, and he's opted out to another facility in Scottsdale, but he can't get there.
Obviously, he's not driving.
No, he's not driving, and we've raised and paid quite a bit of money already, and our bank accounts are extinguished, and we're looking for someone to step to the pump and help this guy out. We're putting money in, but the thing that really makes me mad as hell is the vans are sitting down there,
and nobody to drive them.
They don't have minimum wage to put a driver in it. Vern himself has been a victim of wait, and Vern would make a good Vietnam postal soldier. He's got laced with Agent Orange and congenital heart failure because of that. Same as Gary Dale, Sean Dale's dad, former Marine Corps guy. And the same thing goes on with these guys. It's wait, and your next appointment, John, for your chemotherapy, you're supposed to have it on Wednesday, but the next time we can get to you is in 30 days or 45 days.
I know my dad has to schedule out quite a ways in order for him to get, and my mom has to, which is even more scary, is my mother driving my father down to the VA.
Yeah.
She will not touch an expressway or a highway. She will go back roadway all the way from Scottsdale.
Well, the thing that bothers me the most is this is not news. This has been going on for years and years and years, and I'm extremely personally very disappointed in Senator John McCain. I believe that John McCain forgets who he was, where he came from, and really needs to get in there now and dig. And if they need to privatize VA, do it.
They have the funding, but I mean, I guess as I've always understood it, and as I've always watched it in process, a bureaucratic regime, if you put people who are motivated by the private sector in positions of government, we would do it twice as well for half as much money.
I believe that to be true. Yeah, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not really, other than I don't think it's right. I mean, it's just people serve for their country, they ought to be taken care of.
I don't know how we're going to fix this. I truly don't. I have no faith in McCain. Even through the conservation efforts that we are engaged in.
Yeah, he's very reluctant to sign on to anything.
Yeah,
these days.
he's just he's riding the bus to the end, and I think this next voting campaign is time to end his bus ride.
I thought he was going to run for president again, seriously, which really scared me.
Well, yeah, he can't handle it. He can't handle the stuff here at home that we need help with. He should be involved with this, and this certainly overshadows the wolf issue and some of the environmental things that we're squawking about. But with the military cutbacks, stripping of the Arizona National Guard, I don't know if we even have any E8s left since McGuire has taken in. And McCain was one of the ones that said, here's your resignation. It's in your file. Don't goof it up.
Right.
And then Obama, not taking direction from DOD relative to budgets and all that, we're stripped. And if we don't fix it, we'll go the way Rome did. We're done.
You don't think we're already on that road?
Yeah, we're like
halfway down now.
Headed for hell, as a matter of fact. Yeah. In my opinion, we're getting ready to start throwing slugs over in Russia. And in that block, Syria's raising its head. We've got Somalia going on again, and last time I checked, we had 119 police actions and or wars going on around the country, and out of those 118, I don't know how many different countries we have troops in. I suggest probably as high as 130.
You ever thought of maybe our country should become isolationist for just a period of time, and hopefully we'd get invaded by Canada? Or Scandinavia? Or nice. Sweden?
Yeah, Yumpity. Oh, hell yeah. All right. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, if you have any thoughts on it, we'll put up a place to send some money to the Military Families Foundation to help with offset some of these transportation costs. Yesterday, speaking of cost, All-Star Bass went off at Roosevelt. They had a total of 52 teams in the morning wind. They had 25-mile-an-hour winds.
If that was all,
52 degrees.
There was more wind than that.
Yeah, well, it was gusting. Let's say there was some 6 and 7 foot rollers out there on the mother lake. Tom Perez and Justin Ramsey tipped the scales, won a bunch of money. 1631. They had a kicker of 465. Faybrook and Lunt were second place, 15.95 pounds. Had a kicker of 593. Nice fish. Herman and Savani, they were in their 1312. Lyle, Dalby, and Jeff Mason had 1235. Ty Al Coffee had 12.8, and from there it plummeted. A lot of them were in that 8 to 10 pound range. And at the end of the day, they weighed a total of 240 fish. They had one mortality, had a total weight of 447.61 pounds. Average fish weight was 1.87, and the average team weight was 845. So that was.
When I talked to you yesterday, you were on your way up the hill. And you mentioned that you thought the winning weight would be 13, so yeah. I'm kind of surprised 16. And 13 was barely into some money. They had 12, 13
Yeah, it was
pounds.
good. Well, the other thing they did too, they were out there working for the United Food Bank. They had a 50-50 option. 50% went to the anglers and 50% went to the food bank. They raised a total, that food auction was $250. All-Star kicked in $150. Bill Crush, Jeep, Dodge, Ram kicked in $500. So there was $900 sent back to the food bank.
And I'll tell you what, with $900, that food bank, that's a lot of food they get for that.
You know, I was talking to the guy, and he said, yeah, $1 will represent 4 or 5 meals.
Yeah.
So that's it's pretty significant, I thought.
Nice.
They handle it well.
That'll go a long ways.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You know, and I just we're all pretty blessed, and things like this. Last week we had Cast for Kids. Did you ever get involved in any of that?
No, not
through
not
the
directly.
Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Make-A-Wish, it really impresses me, but I've never been involved in it. No.
Yeah, we've been doing that since '98. Handicapped, disabled kids. That was in the morning. Then we rolled over to Saguaro Lake, Fishing for the Cure, cancer kids. And I'll tell you what, at the end of that day, whoever you are, man, if your heart just wasn't crushed, I don't know what it would make it. It's just awesome. And it's, it's putting a smile on a kid's face, not a big deal, but you know what? It's a big deal to that kid.
A very big deal.
Yeah.
And it's something they'll never forget.
Yep.
Yeah,
they got to eat a fresh Dunkin' Donuts and
a hot dog
pull on a
afterwards.
bluegill or a catfish and have a hot dog at the end of the day.
Can't get any better than that, can it?
I'll take that anytime.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and the amazing thing is that life is made of memories, and those kids will remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. All righty. When we come back, we're going to take you over to San Diego, do a little tuna fishing, check on the Rim Country fishing report, and talk to another guy with a vowel on the end of his name, Tony G. I'm going to leave it go at that because I can't pronounce it. It's G. Lombardo or something like that. I don't know. We'll be right back.
So be careful where you tread.
All righty, we're back. Hey, welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We have racing legend Billy Schumann in the house, along with our buddy Troy and J.K. Shooting at the Sierra Club.
Let's say I'm disappointed in the fact that they're disingenuous about how they're responding to
Well, I
everybody.
think it's high time to start telling the truth. And, as we go through today, we're talking a little bit about, right now, offshore fishing. I know you've been engaged in bass fishing. What about offshore?
I've never done much of that.
Really?
No.
How did you miss that?
I don't think I just never got the opportunity.
You're already tainted as an adrenaline junkie.
Truly.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no denying that.
Yeah, to a point.
Yeah. Push on the gas, they'll just fly right by. Yeah, we spent an awful lot of time offshore, especially out of San Diego, off the East Coast. So that's East Coast, left coast, and in parts of Mexico. Right now, the yellowtail, this year the yellowtail never really went away. They just kind of hung, and
really?
They do that sometimes, depending on the warm water current, how it's swinging. El Nino's swinging in, so that's bringing in some yellowtails already. Last week, they had a little bit better than this week. They had 14 yellows up to 40 pounds whacked down around the islands, maybe a little bit beyond. The La Jolla Trench has what we call some home guards out there, and I'm not real comfortable fishing in the La Jolla Trench. I've had the opportunity to dive into the La Jolla Trench, and we don't know what's down there.
How deep is that, Don?
It is really, really deep. I can't answer that question because I don't know.
It's not measured in feet.
No, fathoms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Far. Just far. Rumor has it UFOs live there.
Okay,
So,
that would make sense to me then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just don't go there. Hey, I want to welcome Rick from the tackle shop over at H&M Landing. Ricky, what's going on over there today, buddy?
Oh, I haven't seen any UFOs. That's one thing.
Well, we know they're there. They stop in Northern California and Oregon and let Bigfoot off, and then
travel down to the La Jolla Trench and
they live
cave up.
underneath Catalina Island, I'm sure.
But to give you an idea, it's about 3,600 feet for that trench.
That's
It is?
almost a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
And,
deep.
black.
Did you guys You ever see that thing they did was probably 30 years ago where they sent Alvin down in that trench?
Yes.
Alvin is a mini sub, and the swordfish speared it.
Serious?
Yeah, this big swordfish, probably about 300 pounds, came up and speared the sub, went all the way through it, and it killed. And then they took it back up, and they had swordfish for dinner, but had to spend a lot of money fixing that thing. So there's dangerous critters all there.
That's the most expensive fish dinner ever.
That's for sure.
Wow. The water is not a safe place, John. Don't get out of the boat.
Never underestimate it, that's for sure. One of the things you were talking about, the yellows. Yellows were pretty good before the storm came through. We had a friend of mine went out on Wednesday, and they got 28 that day for 16 people.
Wow.
Same quality of fish, anything from 12 to about 35 pounds.
Man.
Nice fish. They said that there's so many fish, when you're fishing the surface line, you actually snag as many as you hooked in the mouth, because they're these huge schools and they're feeding on the krill, and they're just kind of like drag your hook through a bunch of earthworms or something. They're just rolling on top of each other.
I'm good with the snag.
Yeah, but a dorsal fin snag, I mean, you're in for a ride then.
You tail hook one of those, you're going to be a while.
Yeah. He said it was a little more. Well, the fish that he caught, he thought were a lot bigger than they were. But they're still nice quality fish. The ones he got were 18 to 25.
What's your weather prediction for next week?
It's supposed to be a lot better. As far as we can see, it's supposed to calm down and have a good week again. Get a little more high pressure going. That'll help a lot.
Sure.
That offshore breeze seems to help too. But there's still a ton of fish down there. And, if you get a chance to look at our website or on our Facebook, we have some pictures of some of the meters that they've taken pictures of these schools that they're going over. I mean, from the surface down to the bottom, 120 feet, and it's just solid. Solid. And they're just, even though these fish aren't always the easiest to catch, one, because they're strong, two, because it depends on what they're eating. The other day, when they got to the 28, they were going by, and these schools would just pop up with the krill, and they were just, all the people were just sitting there watching 300 or 400 yellowtail just swim by the boat.
That's crazy.
Just amazing. Just amazing quantity of fish out there.
I'd lose my mind.
It's so much fun.
Don would be jumping in.
Yeah. No, we don't get out of the boat. No, heck, that the news in Florida last week, a surf angler caught a 11-foot mako that tipped the scales at 805 pounds, John.
Nice. I saw pictures of that sucker.
And
it's
then
huge.
What they didn't give me the weight on, they had a hammerhead that was bigger than that was caught the same day.
Wow.
And I have no idea what that hammerhead weighed. I'm guessing probably 1,000 pounds.
I've dived with sharks before, man, and sometimes it can make you kind of nervous.
Really?
Kind of?
Yeah, kind of. Sometimes it's no big deal, but you can tell kind of when they're acting hinky.
That's a real nice term, a hinky shark. Okay.
Yeah. They do that right before something bad happens.
That's exactly it. How quickly can I get out?
Well, hey, we've been talking about getting geared up to go to San Diego. What are your daily rod rentals?
As far as the cost on them, or what?
Yeah.
Rod. It's for a 3/4 day, it's $16. For a full day, it's $20. And we rent Shimano reels, Seeker rods. If you're going on a longer trip, like day and a half and longer, where you want to have something to a little step up, we rent the Abbott JX 2-speeds.
Wow.
Which really makes it nice for those bigger fish.
It's all quality stuff, JK.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and fresh line all the time, because we want you to go out and have a good time.
And you'll like it. I know you don't get shift gears in your Prius, but you can shift the Abbott.
That's cold.
Yeah, just saying.
I have 2 gears, forward and reverse.
Well, maybe we ought to think about Rick maybe hooking him up with some type of an electric reel.
No.
Unfortunately, most of those aren't allowed in Mexico.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, they don't allow that.
Okay,
so you're gonna have to learn how to turn the handle.
Oh yeah, what's the deal on the permits and the visas? There was some controversy over the last couple of years. Is that settled down for this year?
Yeah, we have that all figured out here. You just come in, bring your government issued ID for everyone. Even kids who need to have something. A birth certificate works fine on that situation, but you got to have some ID because you're going into a foreign country. So you bring those in, we take care of issuing you the visas, the permits, or something we've always been able to do without any problem. And then it's good to go. Nothing to it.
How long does that paperwork take to do when we get down to the docks?
Minutes.
For you guys,
Mm-hmm.
when you're standing in line, it takes you about 10 seconds because we just take your ID.
I can spare the 10 seconds.
They
down.
learned it from the Mexicans. They just take your money, however long that takes. You're done.
Yeah, up to a point, but you think that, but they call it, if we have some errors on that paperwork, they've been honest. Pretty
Truly,
quick. Hey,
truly,
you're doing
yeah.
this, you're doing that. So they're really trying to be as legitimate as possible.
I've been
they're
hearing
actually
rumors.
Very professional about when they're dealing with the public out there too.
I've been hearing rumors of the federales pulling boats over south of the islands, over around Ensenada. Is that truly happening?
Yeah, they pull us over at the islands.
Nice.
They'll come over and they'll check you, make sure your paperwork's good. Tell you have a nice day, let you go. If you got your paperwork done, you have nothing to worry about. I've talked to a guy who broke down out there. He went out, he didn't think his boat would take it, took it out, and he was right. And he was out there adrift, and the Mexican gunboat came up and said, hey, you guys okay? What can we do for you? Call Coast Guard, whatever. They called the CETO for him, and CETO came out and got him, and everything was good. Very professional people.
Nice.
They're doing very good. I've got no complaints with the Mexican government. It's their country; they can do what they want, but they're doing it in a professional manner.
That's good. That's,
we're not thrilled with it, of course. We have to pay more, but still, they're being very professional about it.
All righty, man. Hey, we're going to kick you loose and talk to you next week, and may get a call on Wednesday.
Keep bringing in the yellow.
Very good.
Yeah,
hey,
buddy.
give us a call at 619-222-1144 if you want to make a reservation, or go to our website at hmlanding.com. And check out our Facebook page, too, because we post up stuff every day about what's going on.
Well stated.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, hey, man, we'll talk to Ricky over at the H&M Landing Tackle Shop. We'll be right back.
Well, they call me the fireman. That's my name. Making my rounds all over town, putting out old flames.
Oh, JK, dude.
Hell, everybody like to have what I got.
Wow.
I can cool them down, they're spanking hot.
No dancing on the tables.
And there you go.
All right, hey, Billy, what was one of your most memorable racing events? I know, it's like fishing. You can probably remember every single one, but what really stands out?
A lot of things stand out. I mean, I did that for a lot of years. But, I think the advance in the safety stuff and the advance in the racetracks that's going on, and not so much out here because they took manzanita away and everything's dying, but back in the Midwest, I ran the Nationals at Knoxville in '72, and I went back just last year. The change they've made in that racetrack and the museum and it's just amazing.
Are they safety related?
Pardon me?
Are they safety related
A
issues?
lot of them are. Yeah.
Well, you look at all the stuff that NASCAR did after Dale Sr. Incident.
And
the headrest.
everything's a trickle-down deal. If they do it in NASCAR, they're going to do it in this local sprint car deal and then on down.
Back when I was racing that mod stock, we converted triple SRA. The financial requirements of going to the stock car product rear end and the spindles and then just fuel cells.
They at the museum not too long ago, they had a guy from Simpson come over. And they went through a lot of the safety stuff. What has changed? It's amazing.
Crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
From what I remember, and I always did what people did before me.
Sure.
Yeah, you're out there in a white T-shirt and pair of jeans.
Well, we got a little better than that later.
Later.
Yeah. But we used to wear nylon windbreakers, which was, that's the worst thing you had in a fire.
That'll light right up.
But the technology has changed in the uniform, the helmets, the seats. The seats are a big thing, So, it's come a long way.
I think one of the big technological advances in drag boat racing are the F-15 type cockpits that break loose. And, you can't go 300 miles an hour in a boat. without something.
No, that water gets pretty hard,
You hit anything at 300 miles an hour, it doesn't work.
Yeah, those top fuel drag boats exceed their hydrodynamics and get into aerodynamics, which they don't really have. And that's a problem. We're going to put a thought on that. And, hey, Tony, what's happening? Tony G.
Hey, Fish fans. Hi, Don. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. What's on your mind today, buddy?
Oh, not too much. I've been doing some fishing, and I wanted to get with you guys, give you a heads up about the upcoming ladies' night at the Sportsman's Warehouse. It's going to be May 1st from 6 to 8 p.m., and they're going to have raffle prizes and seminars.
Are you telling me they're raffling off women? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Don't dream.
Yeah, that would be nice, but no. The raffle is for the women.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. What they're raffling off, the grand prize is going to be one of them Colt AR-22s. That's the 22 long rifle. They got the pink one.
That's wrong.
Yeah, well, you can always wrap it in that camouflage tape if your girlfriend or wife wins it. But each one of the ladies that comes in gets a ticket for that as they come in. There's no purchase necessary on that one. And they also get an additional 20% off, all ladies that night, and 10% off the pepper spray. So that keeps the wolves away, both ones. And,
nice.
Four-legged and two-legged.
Yep. And I'm going to be there doing the casting contest again this year over in the fishing department.
Okay.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Now, you're going to be at Yorkshire or over in Mesa?
That's the one in Mesa.
Okay.
And you know what? Last time I was on, we were talking about the event at Props Plus. I didn't have the address off the top of my head. But this time I'm prepared. It's going to be at 1750 South Greenfield in Mesa, Arizona. Greenfield Road.
That'd be the land of Steve Ortiz, of course.
Yes, it is. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you all there. Once again, that's going to be May 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. And, well, I think that pretty much covers the promotional type thing there. How's the fishing been for you, Don?
It's all good. Even when it's bad, it's good. Keeps me away from a weed eater.
Well, that's true. That's true. They've slowed down this the last couple of days. We've had that little bit of a cold front come through.
I'll tell you what, the guys were whacking them over at Roosevelt. 1631 took home a couple $1,000.
Yeah, I heard that earlier. I've been listening in, and that's awesome. That fishing must have been great up there. I'd like to have been there. I've been throwing crankbaits and the rubber worms, and they've been biting pretty steady, but they slowed down just a little bit as the front was coming in. So Wednesday, Thursday, we were doing real well, and Friday, Saturday slowed down a bit. I haven't fished today.
Still early.
All right, well, that's good stuff. Tony, we're going to move along. Thanks for calling in today, and we hope to see you in the studio real soon here.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
All right, Tony G. Lombardo. Thanks. We call him G for short. Billy, you have to have one memorable race that you'll never forget.
You know, like I said, there was excuse me, there was a lot of them, but I think in '73, Gary Bentonhausen couldn't drive his dirt car so many hours before an IndyCar race. And so they hired me to drive his car, and we won the night before the 500 at the fairgrounds in Indianapolis.
Wow,
nice!
And that was really fun. First of all, taking Gary's place was a real honor.
Yeah, boy.
And then driving for his mechanic, and then winning the race, of course, that was great too.
That's a bonus.
Yeah. But I had to borrow a uniform from him because I didn't have a clean uniform, and he asked me to take a piece of gray tape and put it over his name. so
just in case.
Just in case, yeah. But I think that was a real highlight, a real special affair.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Hey, Chet Reynolds here, technical engineer. I wanted to ask you a question. I'm so fascinated. It's kind of like asking Eric Clapton how many notes he's ever played on his guitar, but how many starts do you think you officially had in your career?
I don't know.
I mean, are we talking in the thousands?
Oh, it'd be in the thousands, easy.
That's just unbelievable to get behind the wheel, knowing that every time. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one that can say that I raced a sprint car at Manzanita for 6 decades.
Nice.
Oh my!
Unbelievable.
Got pushed every time, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, there was some cruising and bumping going on.
Oh yeah.
There always is.
Oh, yeah.
There always is. But
Boy, those were fun days, John.
Like to watch those.
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's all changed, but it was a real honor to live through and be able to race through that decade that'll never be back.
Yeah.
It's just something that I'll never ever forget.
You know, there was another guy, Hank Arnold, is the Twister's sister out at your museum.
Yes.
Where is that car?
The Twister's sister?
Yeah.
The Twister's in Tucson. Don Brown owns it. But he's also got another car that Roger McCluskey, they took a Roadster and built it into a sprint car, and it's at the museum right now.
Okay.
So there's a lot of history down there.
Boy, there sure is. I'm going to have to get out there and
Well, you got to
check
do it.
that. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's
I'm by that area all the time. I mean, Broadway and 40th Street, I'm always over there.
36th Street. You can't,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've got to stop in.
What are the hours?
the hours they're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I believe it's from 12 to 4. And then Saturdays from 9 to 2, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got a lunch
But-
coming up somewhere.
Yeah, buddy. Call me. I'll meet you down there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
You know
Yeah.
who'd get a kick out of that's General Manager of Build Crusher Jeep Dodge Ram.
Mr. Kim
yeah,
Carter.
Yeah, Kim Carter, boy, yeah.
Yeah, Kim. I told Kim if you give me a call, I'd meet him down there, and I'll do the same for you guys.
We did a promotion over at the F1 Raceway with the go-karts. One thing you don't ever want to do is let Kim Carter get behind you in a go-kart. I'm telling you. Yeah, I put a slide job on him, and that was a big mistake. He waited and waited and waited until one of those big concrete columns came. I ate it.
Oh no.
Yeah. You ever seen a
Well-
go-kart catch on fire? They had neither until that day.
Well, one thing about a slide job, when you do one, you better get away from the guy, because otherwise you're going to
Yeah,
get
Kim,
it. You know that.
yeah, he did his best imitation of Bill Cheeseburger. Just bump, 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 pow. Wow, that's crazy stuff. You got any racing in your background? Except from racing to appointment to appointment to
Not
appointment?
that was legal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but in the cities, when you get your first car.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was like a 79 Scirocco, which was like half a Volkswagen, half an Audi for that year. And we knew a little German guy that used to tune that up. We used to go racing at night. The nice thing was I could turn the lights out, and since it was a stick, the cops couldn't see which street I was rolling down after they were chasing me.
Yeah, we call that the Tokyo Drift
Yeah.
in modern day terms. Well, hey, I'm Don McDowell. We're going to stand down and thank some more of our sponsors, including Bill at Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. The guys back at TTI Blakemore, man, got to live for the thump.
Mm-hmm.
And you are
Special K.
living for the thump.
Troy.
Billy Schumann.
We'll be right back, guys. Alrighty, we're going to change gears and go to downtown Payson, where the weather is always nice, with James Guggenauer, our master rod builder. James, good morning.
Good morning, Don, and what a great morning it was here in Payson. 30 degrees this morning with a nice coating of frost on the roofs and the trucks. Great morning to be out there.
How nice was it yesterday morning?
Yesterday was not too bad. Windy in the morning yesterday, and then, of course, that storm blew through, and we did get a good bit of rain yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I was down in Tonto Basin. It rained really hard down there. Haven't seen that the creeks are actually flowing any harder. But we'll take any moisture we can get here in rim country.
Well, absolutely. You know, All-Star, those boys slugged it out and actually caught quite a few fish. Big fish was 593, 465, and 4.5, 4 1/4, 440. Quite a number of those caught.
Yep, absolutely. This is, you know, I said if you've got vacation this week, you need to get to Roosevelt Lake, and if you don't have vacation, you need to call in sick.
Thank you.
There you go.
Because this is the week. The spawn that we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 weeks is really going strong now. You can see lots of beds in the shallow water. But maybe more importantly, the post-spawn bite is really picking up in the area of a top water bite.
Right.
So 2 baits that were really called out by a lot of these anglers, and I'm sure that several of them were caught yesterday. The first is a Rio Rico in their pearl white color, and the second one is a Zora Spook, and this is in a chrome with a black stripe. And both of those baits just over the top this past week.
Nothing like chucking a spook.
Right.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, that. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on it, but you know they're really, very, really hard to find. I'd give $25 or $30 for an Excalibur about right now.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So what the reason everybody's looking forward to this week is that little storm that blew through. It did churn things up a little bit yesterday. But, you know, the later, we've said this before, and I think you brought it up, Don, the later you go into the spawn, the less the impact the weather has on them. Those fish, I guarantee you this morning, they're right back to spawning. They're right back to their post-spawn activities. So as the water clears up and the wind lays down a little bit more, this will be a great week to be up here. Other baits that were reported yesterday were crank baits, soft plastic paddle tail swim baits, like a reaction innovation kind of bait. And when the wind was up yesterday during that tournament, I talked to a few guys who switched over to the bottom. They were running lizards, worms, or crawdad imitations, Texas rig and Carolina rig. And so, you know, just an idea of how these guys can fish so well, especially during the spawning. The week before there was a tournament, there was a 6+ caught, there was a 5+ caught, there were several over the 4-pound mark. So pretty much what All-Star did yesterday is the same pattern that was on for the prior week also. The lake is still at 50% full. Like I said, there's not a lot of flow into the lake, but we're staying right at 50%. The temperature is in the high 60s and even some days in the low 70s. What's key about that low 70s is that's typically when the top water baits really start to kick in for Roosevelt Lake anyway. So the closer we get to 70 degrees and we start spending the whole day there, we'll see that bite get better and better. The other thing is water clarity is finally starting to improve. That greenish tint is kind of gone away, and I'm getting reports that guys can see down 10 feet at some of the beds that are down there now.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most of the guys that I talked to were fishing between 3 to 10 feet.
Yeah, absolutely. This is that time of year that is kind of unique. That the fish are shallow, and a lot of baits in a tackle box will just work this time of year.
Well, this is one of the times you actually can go fish whatever your personal strength is and do well.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the crappie fishing, we're still struggling with that. Was called fair to poor this past week. Some guys are on them, but these are guys, I think, that are more seeing them. They know where they spawn, and they're able to catch some of the males and watch those. But guys that are just trolling are kind of still struggling. We talked last week about a hot spot being the Sally Mae Cove. This week we added the areas around Windy Hill to the hotspot list. So you might try those with crappie. You'll be wanting to troll a 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jig head. And as always, the pumpkins and chartreuse colors, or black, blue, and chartreuse kind of grub tail, are working for the crappie. But it's a tough fight for crappie. You just have to put your time in and hopefully run across some schools out there. The other good thing in rim country is our stocking up on the rim lakes. Arizona Game and Fish is in full swing of their stocking program. All the roads and all the lakes are open now. There were some issues with some road closures to the lakes due to moisture and some mud on the roads, but that's all kind of cleared up. I'm getting good reports for power baits, salmon eggs, and small spinners. And as always, you can look at the Game and Fish website, and you can get a complete list of all the stocking on the lakes up there. The other thing with those trout, there's a lot of holdover trout. We had a pretty mild winter last year, relatively speaking, and so a lot of trout made it through the winter, and guys are catching some nice holdover trout in a three pound range early this season. So if you'd like to get up there on the rim and fish those lakes, now's the time to be there.
Yeah, it all sounds good. JK, how bad is the closure going to get, you think?
I think that by next week we're going to see that they're going to start closing down the forest based on that wind that we saw. Even though they got some moisture, which is a plus, the winds dry out everything really, really badly very quickly. Like Jim was pointing out, that there isn't a change in the flow yet, and I don't think that a lot of that water from yesterday made it down from off the hillsides because it's so dry.
Yeah.
James, I think you're going to see that a lot of people are going to be staying in town because they're not going to be going out into the forest, because I guarantee you before Memorial Day, May 15th is my bet line as to when they're going to close down the forest for camping.
James, I'm going to leave you with one thing here. In your spare time, go to ttiblakemore.com, click on Mr. Crappie, and look at the Slab Daddy supper rig, or the Slab Daddy for your crappies.
Oh,
and that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it go.
Don, there's some things that we just got to keep. You know what I mean?
White perch would be a good choice.
Okay. Now you're going too far, brother.
Yeah. It's all good. Any news up there on Wolf Report?
No Wolf Reports. I was listening to JK earlier, and it's just a continued frustration, and just make no mistake about it. People in rim country do not want wolves released into this area. I don't know how else we can make that clearer to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife or anyone else. They don't help this area, and there's lots of concerns around what U.S. Fish and Wildlife is trying to do here.
The big problem with them, Jim, is they don't understand that no means no. No bad wolf. All righty, man. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll talk to you next week. James Guggenauer doing a heck of a job for us out of the Rim Country. Check him out, Rim Country Custom Rods. I'm Don McDowell. We'll be back, get this closed up, and head to the Weed Eater.
A fact, but the thought of somebody.
All righty, we're back. Billy, I want to thank you for coming down, and really good to have an opportunity to go to the museum and look at the vintage open wheel racing cars.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Don. I do appreciate it, and just I wish I could tell everybody about the museum because it is that neat, but they'll just have to get down and see it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put something up on the website for you and continue to talk about it. You're welcome to come down anytime and visit. Do you have special events over there, or are you just open?
No, they do have special events. We have it's geared for meetings. If a car club or a or a bass club or anybody wants to have a meeting down there, it's open for that.
When do we have our ADA meetings over there?
Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, the nice thing about it is if there's a little break in the meeting or something, people have something to look at.
Right.
It's really amazing. But we also have the Arizona Motorsports Hall of Fame is all on display down there with the plaques and pictures of everybody that's in the Hall of Fame.
Gosh.
like I said, there's just a lot to see. But it's geared for the public. It very much is.
All right, you and I are going to be out there sometime this week. I don't know if it's Wednesday, because Wednesday we're booked pretty heavy, but Thursday, Friday, you and I have to make a trip.
Well, you guys let me know you're going down there, and I'll meet you down there.
Yeah, I'm really good with that.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that. It's my side of town.
Yeah.
Anything that ends in street, it's my side.
I'm going to hold both of you to that. How's that?
Yeah,
cool. Oh, that works. That's awesome.
You need to get out there and look at some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
This is Arizona history right here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let me ask you a personal question. Having been bitten by the racing bug, does it ever get out of your system?
Yeah, it does.
Let's just say you and I are on the golf course. You have
in
cart
golf
A,
cart,
and I have cart B.
Well, I'm going to get there first.
No,
there you go. Your answer. No, the bug's long gone. Yeah,
I rest my case.
Yep.
It's changed quite a bit. So when I first started in the '60s, everybody helped everybody, and it wasn't that big a deal. There wasn't a lot of money involved. It was just and if somebody broke something, if you had to lend it to them so they could get, that was done. I don't see that much anymore. It's and the family deal's kind of going away. I don't see the families like I used to. That's one thing that impressed me about the bass days out at Lake Pleasant was the families that were there, and it was geared for kids and women and the whole deal. And then that cornhole,
the cornhole thing.
Yeah.
We're pushing for a ladies' cornhole tournament for next year. Sunday.
I'll tell you what, it was some of those guys pretty serious about that.
You think?
Yeah, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I watched. Having worked the beer tent, which is what I stood at for countless hours, I watched some guys and I thought, how in the world can they do that?
I know.
Then they'd come over every hour like clockwork, 2 Coors Light. Okay. And come back next hour, 2 Coors Light. How are you guys doing? We're winning. Okay. I don't know whether it was the lubrication that helped or what, but they did awesome.
But
it's not like bowling.
No.
When I first got into the tournament stuff in bass fishing, it was strictly a male deal. I mean, it was just for the guys, and to come up with something like that the whole family can be involved in, the rides for the kids and all that stuff. I mean, the concert. I mean, what a great thing! It's just. I was dumbfounded.
That was you dancing up on stage on Saturday night.
Could have been.
I knew I recognized him.
Don, I asked Billy in between one of the breaks if the racing was out of him, and he said to me offline, he goes, well, kinda, I can't afford the speeding tickets.
Ooh.
None of us can.
Yeah. Not anymore.
I can tell you, Star Valley's $285.
Yeah, for the little blinking camera that Don got.
Yeah, I try to take a shot at it with a paintball pistol every time I drive by. I'll get a picture of that too.
I've had people go by me going down the hill into Star Valley from Payson, blow past me, and I'm thinking he's going to get dinged.
Yep. Yeah.
The funniest one was a guy who got dinged, slammed on his brakes afterwards.
It's too late.
Didn't know, though, that there was another one 400 yards down the road. Jumped on it again, boom, got twice. My son and I were laughing our butts off because he got hit twice within 30 seconds.
That's the only civic industry that they have there.
I don't know that.
Those 4 cameras.
Yeah. And they make a boatload of money because every time I go by, I see somebody getting dinged.
Well, they think enough of you to drive all the way from Star Valley with your summons.
They don't drive. They hire those. They hire Maricopa County Sheriff's guys off duty to do that.
This guy, I asked the guy Sunday afternoon at 6. They came to my front door and go, "Hey, man, is that your boat?" I go, "Yeah." "You must be Don McDowell." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You're served."
Congratulations.
I go, "Wait a minute, you drove all the way down here for that?" He goes, "Nah, I got you and about 6 more."
Yeah.
Okay.
Serious? He came down from Star.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. You are famous.
Yeah, he probably drove a Prius down there to save the gas.
Let's just say I'm on file.
There you go.
Anything to add on behalf of yourself, Mr. Troy?
Another pleasure to be here. Met another legend today.
Okay, we're going to stop at Dunkin' Donuts?
We are. Every guy likes a double D.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
I like that.
I'm not touching it at all. Thanks, Don.
America runs on double D's.
Yes, it does.
Okay, Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I think we're, pretty good shape. Any news for the upcoming ADA meetings, AZSFWC? Anything worth mentioning at this point?
No, the AZSFWC meeting we had last week, and by the way, that was a great snacks that you provided for us.
Thank you.
That was probably one of the better ones we've had in the last 3 years.
Well, I argued the point because they say chicken fingers. Well, we all know chickens don't have fingers.
Right.
And then you go to the McDonald's and they don't have chicken fingers, they have chicken nuggets. I tried to explain to them that roosters have nuggets, chickens have no nuggets. And you go down this line and it's just like, what are we living in?
That's all right. The food was great. We appreciate it. There's a lot of issues that are on the table right now, particularly for the conservation groups to look at.
Yeah.
Certainly the forest closures is something that we're going to have to look at. But even after that, the travel management plans, I know that there's still some comment periods that are going on in the Apache sick graves. The rules are going to start taking effect. And everybody has to, it's like anything else. We haven't taken the opportunity to make comments in the past. We have to do it as often as viable now. Yeah. I think litigation is certainly going to be on our future. Absolutely on a comparative basis with the Mexican gray wolf. We're going to see that. It's going to happen.
With that, we've got the Mexican garter snake that we need.
Narrow-nosed garter snake and the Mexican garter snake are two species that are darn near extinct in Arizona. It's because we don't have running streams anymore. So, if you need to see them,
if you want to see them in Mexico.
That's right. You go to Mexico and they're there, and they're living there quite nicely. And no, they don't have haciendas down there yet, but it's getting close. So I would say that if we look at that and if we look at some of the issues that are going on a national basis, we're anticipating Fish and Wildlife to have their final responses on both the delisting on the north as well as the change to ESA animal in Arizona, endangered species.
Any news on jaguars?
Well, we took a look at, and there was an article that came out that Mr. DeVos sent out to us where they only set aside like 20,000 acres for the caribou out of Idaho, but they set aside 780,000 acres for the single jaguar that we've seen roaming south of Tucson. So it's a proportionate thing. The jaguar is doing quite well in Central America. Not so well, particularly coming up north. And that stray son of a gun who happens to wind up his happy butt in Arizona, we now set aside 783,000 acres for him. It's not going to affect the way we hunt, but houndsmen are going to have some issues.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't think that's going to come to rule, quite frankly.
No.
One final shot. We mentioned roll call on the veteran deaths associated with Veterans Administration. Up on the website this afternoon, ShakeRattleAndTroll.com, we will have a post for Military Family Foundation. It's a P.O. box over in Scottsdale with a number for CEO and the Executive Director, Vernon Bagley, and a phone number. Should you have any dollars you would like to donate? So we've got this one guy. We've got to get him back and forth to chemotherapy that's 87 years old and has no way to get there. VA's dumping the load on this guy, so, we're picking up the slack and trying to get it done for him. So, anyway, having said that.
As I said, I know my dad personally has had good experiences with the VA, but he's got transportation down. How reliable my mother is as a driver is still questionable at this point in time. She denies ever having been photographed, but we've got issues with that. Scottsdale has her on file.
You telling me Mama's on file?
Mom's on file.
Nice. At least we know who your mom is. That's good news. All right, hey, we're going to stand down. Hope you all have a good day, and thanks for joining Shake, Rattle, and Control today with
Special K,
Troy,
and Billy Schumann. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming down. I'm Don McDowell. Take your kids fishing, hug your bass boat, and we are out.
Well, kids to watch the